Okay, so I think we're good to go. Let's break the rules and start 15 seconds earlier. So, hello everyone. Hi and welcome on our Vue.js Talks number 12. I'm happy to announce that. First of all, let me, as always, introduce myself. I'm Pavel, a front-end developer from Epicmax, the company where we breathe Vue.js, and also we created a Vue 3 framework, Vuestic UI, as well as a Vuestic admin dashboard based on it. So we launched the Vue.js Talks just with one simple purpose: to share the knowledge, to talk with other developers, and to get some fun. And as in every previous talk, I'm glad to say that we have 3 beautiful speakers today as well. So in our agenda for today, the first topic would be Flutter for Frontenders of there and back and again. The second one is Uplifting Nuxt with layers. And the last one, more than informative one, 404 Intelligence Not Found, Epic AI Blunders. And I'm happy to announce our first speaker is Alexander Gorbunov. Nice to see you, Alexander, there. He's a software engineer at Smart Steel Technologies. He has big expertise in JavaScript, TypeScript, Vue, Nuxt, and Flutter. Also, he's a public speaker. And his hobby is not just small. He's jogging, hiking, studying, reading, and having some family time. So nice to see you, Alexander.
Thank you very much. Nice to
Welcome to this scene. Yeah.
So I guess then let me share.
Sure.
Okay, so it should be visible so far. Please react somehow if it's visible.
Yeah, all good.
Awesome. Then I guess we could start. And yeah, today I'm just genuinely happy to present this talk for you. And thank you very much for attending it. And yeah, let's, I think, begin with just a short introduction of myself. As it was said, my name is Alex. I'm in love with software engineering since 2019, my university years, and I'm writing code ever since. So currently, I'm making still scheduling plant scheduling on, great again. And yeah, as it's obvious, I do front-end magic with JavaScript, TypeScript. My favorite framework is Vue.js, and I do a little bit of Flutter. And yeah, here is a QR code to my LinkedIn page. I would be genuinely happy to connect with you all. So I think let's wait for a minute. If somebody is interested.
In any case, we will share all the resources later at the end of our call.
Okay, no problem. Then yeah, then let's not wait for long. Then let's skip it. And yeah, today, what we're going to do, we are going to talk about Flutter and what it is, how it works, and so on, and why Flutter was a choice for the company I was worked for. And sorry, my favorite Vue.js devs. I will talk a bit about React Native, as it's a bit similar with the Flutter. And yeah, then we will talk about markup with Flutter, how it's a bit similar to what we have in web. Then we will compare TypeScript and with another one killer of TypeScript, it's Dart. And what could one benefit from this? And yeah, I think let's begin with a short story. In a hole in the ground, there lived a front-end developer. On a curious chance, one morning long ago, when there was less noise and more green, and the front-end developers were still numerous and prosperous, I was sitting in front of my MacBook, finishing a large amount of front-end code. And here Gandalf came by and told me, what about writing a bit of Flutter? So in the real life, it was HR who basically found me on some resource, don't remember what it was. Yeah, and told me that there is an application that we want to develop and maintain. It's a bit of, there was an MVP already, but yeah, we would want to maintain it. So what was the application? So basically, simple application with simple client-server architecture that should communicate with backend in some way and show necessary data. And as you already know, and that Bilbo in Lord of the Rings, oh sorry, not in The Hobbit, was named a burglar, but wasn't one. As you can see, I'm also not a true Flutter developer. But despite the fact, during the year working at that company, I gained 320 story points working and basically finishing Flutter tasks, released more than 20 versions of the application, bumped the Flutter version from 1.12 to 3.10. And on the front-end side, yeah, I was also working parallel on some Vue.js application for the company. I gained only 50 story points, nothing released and nothing bumped. Yep, so let's see. And we'll start with Flutter with React Native. So what is Flutter? It's basically, according to the documentation, is an open source framework developed by Google, dedicated to create beautiful applications. It's natively compiled, multi-platform, and you use a single code base to develop to nearly every platform like Android, iOS, MacBook, macOS, Windows, Linux, and embedded devices. Under the hood, it consists of three parts. It's a layered system. The first part is framework, the second part is engine, and then there is an embedder. So what is a framework? It's basically where all the stuff happening, like UI, rendering, and so. No, sorry, rendering happens further. But here we have material and Cupertino libraries to create our widgets, and so on. Then engine is a C++ implementation. There is a low-level API of Flutter. As I said previously, it's rendering, for example. And yeah, basically providing also a bit more low-level APIs to the platform itself. And embedded, as I said, it's communication with the OS, for example, with Android. Then we have a React Native. React Native is basically also a open source framework developed by Meta. It uses React components and native capabilities of the platform, as at least it's said in the documentation, to develop Android and iOS applications. But as I have seen, they also have plans, or they already released the opportunities to develop for actually any platform as Flutter does. Yeah, I'm sorry, Meta. Then yeah, under the hood, React Native basically does the same thing, except that the difference is we are writing JavaScript with React components. They are then ported to the React Native components, basically creating the same tree. And and under the hood, again, C++ creates a native screen, also tree-like. So far, it seems very similar. Like it has C++, this has C++, everything is the same. So basically how to choose and how it was chosen. And the prerequisites was, in the company I worked for, there were a bunch of front-end developers and a similar technology. But why we chose Flutter for creating our application? This long story short, there was a great meeting with the team lead of engineering, and so on, with some senior developers. There were lots of arguments like Flutter is new, React Native is battle tested, but battle tested React is slow. New Flutter is Swift. So lots of questions. Then the team lead actually of the team, the development was there. He threw an awesome argument. There was an experience in the company when the guy started to write React Native and he just burnt out and left the company. And this is a true story. So eventually it was chosen the Flutter. And yeah, let's see how we... basically, yeah, and a bit of spoiler, we've lived with this choice pretty greatly. But yeah, with some difficulties. Let's get serious from this now. Let's see how it's similar to what we have in web development. For example, this is normal Vue.js component, like semi-normal. Okay. For example, if I want to stylize my text, I want to say it's okay, let it be the bold, like 900. I want the size to be 24 pixels and the font family will be Georgia. Okay, I will do something like this as it's shown in the slide. How I should do this in Flutter? Basically, it's nearly the same way, just using objects or class instances. So I will have style as an attribute of the text class. Then I will say, okay, for this text style, I want to create an instance of the text style class and write the same attributes of the class. Its font family, its font size, and its font weight, as it's shown in the slide. Yeah, but what are the examples? Like, it's not the thing that you do every day. Let's take the changing the normal flow of the web page, the elements of the web page. One could do this in this way in web, like for example using Flexbox. Well, for example, I have a bunch of children in the parent component like div 1, 2, 3, 4, and I want to display them as a row. So I would say, okay, CSS, please display me this as flex and justify them as to make space between them. Yeah, pretty familiar example. How I will do this in Flutter? Again, I will do just a row instance, a row class, and I will tell this class, please space between them in the alignment. And there would be children as 1, 2, 3, 4, as it was on the previous slide. Then, as a front-end developer, one could definitely think about the responsiveness of the app. And of course, Flutter is not the outstanding piece here. There's also web applications that could be built with Flutter, so responsiveness is basically a must. So one of the ways to achieve responsiveness with the web instruments, it's media queries. So it's just, that's not very good example, but very simple one to be understandable. So I want to change my text, for example, in mobile application or mobile version of the website on the particular width. So yeah, then I will use this media query, and again, it specifies the needed font. How I will do this in Flutter? Again, using media queries, with the difference that I would request a method from the context and put the media query to the variable and say, okay, using ternary operator, I would say like, if the width will be this of this size, I will use this text or another text. So far, so good. What about debugging? The most important part. How to center a div and not knowing how to center it back. In web development, we have awesome tools in Chrome or any other browser like Mozilla. We have these tabs with console where we could see JavaScript, write some JavaScript if we somehow forgotten the filter method or the arrays. We have network tabs and so on. Basically, lots of it. And Flutter, again, is not the exception here. They also have their awesome tools. I believe the Flutter team worked really hard on this because, again, we have everything like network, memory management, and so on. And it's basically available in the IDE too. Yep. And now we've approached the killer of JavaScript and TypeScript, the smart dragon called Dart. And let's see why we don't need the black arrows actually to defeat it. So what is Dart? Darth Vader. Yes, exactly. So what is Dart? It's the open source language developed by Google. It's strictly typed. It's object oriented. That supports just-in-time compilation. Yeah, lots of words, but under the hood, it's pretty the same. So, and the first part, sorry, where's my mouse? Not found it. I found it. So, yeah, here we go again. So yeah, and the most important part of both JavaScript and Dart is the execution flow. And it's the same as in JavaScript. We have our call stack, we have event loop, and we have two queues, microtask and task queue, and both functions in the same way. So basically nothing new for a web developer. Then, of course, the really important part of our everyday life. Yes, exactly. Yes, the very important part is asynchronous requests and everything about synchronicity. Sorry, and basically it's nearly the same. I mean, Dart is nearly the same as JavaScript, with the slight difference that they name the objects in different ways. In JavaScript, we have our promises, but in Dart, we have futures. And it's basically, it has all these three states that's actually completed the error, completed successfully, and uncompleted. We would retrieve the value from the future the same way, from using async await, and we could also do simultaneous requests with the future method. Let's see it a bit closer. So we have our normal Dart code here. It's basically fetch user order, for example. It will be a function with the asynchronous function. We'll use the same try-catch block that will await the response, and we will do parsing from JSON. And if we look at the TypeScript code, or sorry, JavaScript code, whatever, it will be the same. A synchronous function that awaits for the request, returns the promise, and parses the JSON with the try-catch block. Let's go a bit deeper. We can, of course, I'm talking about like slightly with JavaScript and TypeScript, that everything modern development is not really known without TypeScript, I guess. So far, I haven't seen a lot, fewer JavaScript. So yeah, and let's just from here, we'll talk about TypeScript because there is no types, unfortunately, in JavaScript. And it doesn't make sense to talk about Flutter and JavaScript. So in TypeScript, we have numbers, we have strings, we have booleans, so we have null undefined, and we have, of course, any to just say, okay, whatever, give it, be it dynamic. In Dart, it's basically all the same. Okay, with the slight difference of numbers, but still it's the same. It's ints, also there could be possible to be doubles. We have strings, we have bools, also the values could be nullable. Unfortunately, there is no such thing as undefined, but yeah, it's at least it's nullable, and we could be dynamic, of course. Let's see a bit about collections and functions. As it was already shown, there are functions in Dart, and yeah, we have collections like arrays, for example, in TypeScript. We have objects with sort of like key value collection. Yeah, we have string interpolations and so on. In Dart, we basically have the same, but with a slight difference that list will replace the arrays, maps will replace the objects, and string interpolation will stay the same. Let's see a bit of classes. Yeah, I know there are lots of polemics about classes in JavaScript and TypeScript, but let's assume they're real. And here we could, for example, what we could do with class. We could call a constructor, we could have some fields, we could have some internal methods, we could implement the interface that we created for any class. And so we could do in Dart, of course. But in Dart, there will be no interfaces, there will be abstract classes. And yeah, there will be class attributes, there will be methods, and of course constructors. And yeah, there will be my most hateful hate this yeah this not interpolations. Yeah, sorry. I forgot the word in English, but I bet you got what I'm talking about. And let's a bit guessing here. Could you please guess what is it? Is it TypeScript or Dart? Yeah. Please write in the comments something. TS. Only one guess. Only TS. Okay. Yeah, you got me. That's TS. And here is obvious it's Dart. So far, so good. I drew you a rosy picture that it's like with no effort transition from web development to Flutter. But is it really so? No, of course not. Do you remember that I've talked about the problems that we managed? Yeah, now I'm going to talk about them. So there are two companies basically in Russia where I worked for a company and providing maps SDKs. This is Yandex and this is DoubleGIS. Both are awesome and they have like robust stuff in their libraries and so on. Yeah, so the initial implementation of the app included the Yandex map libraries, but unfortunately our customer told to us that no, sorry, we can't have Yandex maps because we can't make an agreement with the Yandex. So please provide us with DoubleGIS. Yeah, of course, as a normal engineers, we started to check for libraries, and unfortunately, we found only this one. Just not to confuse you like a lot, now there are like several libraries providing really cool plugin for DoubleGIS, but yeah, at that moment when we wrote this application, it was only that poor package that contains actually nothing. But Flutter, being a really robust framework, allowed us to write ourselves a plugin for it, for DoubleGIS SDK, like native Android SDK. And that was the very first time in my career when I was paid for studying. Just I was basically my normal workday was I go to the office, I opened the content documentation and just studying it. So we took Flutter method channels and created in Kotlin. So we took the DoubleGIS Maps SDK, we wrote a plugin in Kotlin, then ported the methods to Flutter, and Flutter ported this to our application. It's basically like one could say a foreign function interface, but yeah, a bit modern in the Flutter world. So, as Gandalf promised me at the start, I came back not the same hobbit as I was before the journey. What I've learned so far, basically, and really, I could tell the truth, this experience gave me a lot. I got really robust in all the object-oriented programming because it's really hard to imagine Flutter without it. I got a deep introduction with all the object-oriented programming principles, solid principles, and so on. It gave, for example, there are specific frameworks of like state frameworks of like block that really separates the data layer from the presentation layer. And that's got me like more robust introduction to this. Not the Russian, more knowledge. I became more this meta. Also, it's very cool to know about event-driven approach. Also, Flutter could do this with this block library. It's really similar to React.js in the web. And so, thank you very much for listening. And I really encourage you to get everything that you have and try to not be scared to go to new technologies, explore new career paths. Yeah, just be great and have fun.
Thank you, Alexander. Nice talk. I like it. And I'm excited to try this Dart. But I have maybe I will speak loud of many of us here. What is the main point of switching TS for Dart, for example?
The main point. So I can't say that there should be a main point. Basically, I found this problem when the front-end developers in the company was really scared of this transition. Like, oh no, you need to complete a task somewhere in Flutter. What is it? No, I don't want to. But actually, it turns out to be a really great experience, as I said, and it's not what one should fear about. But
Okay.
basically, like answering your question directly, I think it depends on the need. If you need this, why not?
Okay, cool. Because in my mind, I thought that you're talking that the Dart is some kind of evolution further from JavaScript or TypeScript to it. But now,
No,
but now I realize that it's just another tool, and we don't need to be afraid of if we need to use it somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. If we talk history-wise, yeah, it was basically the idea of Dart was another one killer of JavaScript. It was developed before TypeScript, or at least
Okay,
not long before, but in parallel something.
Yeah, that's amazing. I don't see any questions in the chat, but if you guys have some, please feel free to drop, and we'll discuss it right there. But if not, I think we can move on. Thanks again, Alexander. That was amazing. And let's move forward. Our next speaker is Alois Sečkár. Hello, Alois.
Hello.
I hope I pronounce your name and surname properly.
Yes, you pronounce it very correctly, even better than many Czech people do.
Oh,
so thank you.
Cool. Love to hear that. So let me present Alois a little bit. Alois is a senior application developer at Atos Eviden. Also, he's a public speaker. Obviously, he's there with us. And as he said, he maintained legacy Java applications for a living and built modern Nuxt apps for fun. So I hope we will get some fun with you, Alois, today. And I'm passing the microphone to you.
Yeah, thank you. Maybe I would dispute the public speaker status because as for now, I only had one public speak about Vue.js. This will be second one. So hopefully it will be good enough. And I'm not sure if it will be that much fun, but I hope it will be interesting. And now I'm not sure how to do this. Yes, entire screen I need to share. So my experience with public speaking is limited to running the presentations. Is it okay? Do you see now?
Yep, all good.
Okay. So here, very quick introduction. It was already made, so I won't be repeating myself. Just a little bit about that Java background, because I really started as Java developer and in my company called few days Atos and few years Eviden, and now against Atos. I do mostly Java things, but for the last like 4 or 5 years, I found Vue.js and especially Nuxt. And yeah, sometimes I feel like an imposter because when being together with many awesome people doing so many awesome things, then I just like, but I didn't have created so great things yet. But I hope there is at least something behind me. One of those projects is the Czech translation of Vue.jsTalks, which hopefully helps some people in Czech Republic to gain knowledge about Vue.js when they are picking their front-end development journey. And the second thing, conference about Vue.js Prague Vue. It will be this September. I will be there, and with the quite same presentation I will have today. So if you hear it today, you won't be too much surprised. But there will be 12 another interesting, great people, including one of our co-hosts, Anastasia. So you are very much invited, and I wanted to make a special promotion that if you happen to be interested in coming into the capital city of Czech Republic, into Prague, and see us, join us together at Prague Vue, I can offer a 20% discount from the price that is currently displayed on the website. So feel free to contact me through the chat or privately, and or contact the organizers, and we will find out how to do it. And now quickly about Nuxt, in case you haven't heard about it yet, which I found a bit unlikely because it's very popular in Vue.js world. It's a framework that is built atop of Vue.js base, but it helps you in shielding from some tedious tasks, like you don't have to register all the components, you don't have to bother that much with routing, because the routing in Nuxt works on file-based way. So we just created the folders and files inside the folders, Vue components, and those serve like pages. Then in the browser, it is auto-wired and everything just works. There are also some helpful features for data fetching, error handling, and other tasks. And maybe the most important and most interesting thing is it has a server part, special thing called Nitro. And this allows you to run not only a front-end application, but also the backend in one code base and at one place. And it works really nice and allows quite a lot of things. Like you could basically omit some middleware stuff just for processing data. You can directly connect to database and expose API endpoints on your own and call it from your front end, or even have only backend application wrote in TypeScript, JavaScript in the Nuxt way, and it will work. So Nuxt is very interesting. I came across Nuxt when it was about to release the version 3. So I didn't experience the problems with going from version 2 to version 3, which were some backlash and some bad experience for many developers that they've developed something and completely different version came out. I was already learning the new version. And despite I said that for my company, I do mostly Java work, I already had a chance to convince my colleagues to use Nuxt in 2 bigger projects. One was really big, I would say a bit nationwide impact, but I cannot talk about it much more. But I will talk about the second one because it's also more connected to the topic I want to talk. And today's topic are the feature called Nuxt layers. And this is something like an inheritance, I would say, because this is a thing that allows you to create Nuxt application and put your common functionality in there, like the same UI elements or same enchant logic, some utility functions. And so you don't have to repeat them if you have more applications built on that, you can just have this common foundation, and it is called a layer, and you can extend another applications from it very easily. And it works like that what is written in the base application, this will be copied into and made available in the extending application. If there is a file of the same name in the same path, it will be overwritten with what you have. So it is flexible enough for you. You are not limited that you cannot interfere with that. And config files are something I called defu merge, and it's because there is a library called defu and a function with the same name that allows some intelligent merging of objects and arrays to allow again what comes from the from the base layer is inherited, and what can be joined is joined, and what has to be overwritten because it's different in your application, this will be overwritten. It works really great. And the concept of layers can be used in monorepo projects. Monorepo means that you have one Git repository or some else versioning system repository where you have more separate applications under one root. But it also works as npm packages, and we will talk more about that because this is how I'm using layers. And this image on the right side, it should illustrate the principle that whenever you have a file, Nuxt config.ts with the common contents of this file, which is specific content of a Nuxt application, then you also have a layer, and you can start extending from it. So whatever is there, it's always a layer. And if you want to hear more or read more, there are those links to official documentation where you can find how to work with that more. Here I want to show only how easy it is to write application that extends from some layer. And those are the 3 ways you can extend something. So it can be some base folder in your monorepo structure, so just relative path from the current folder. Or it can be public npm package. So if you publish package to npm, then you just use the name, and it will be found and it will be used. And it is also possible, and we had to use it like that in our company project, that it is npm package in some private repository. There is a way how to configure everything to be able to connect even into your private npm repository and download private package and work with that. So here is just a quick glance at the application. I won't be showing the demo, how it works, how you can click there and stuff like that. I won't be even saying what is it exactly for about. The basic idea is that it's an administration tool for a company, and some elements are always common throughout this application, like the filtering pane at the top, and the table is always quite the same, just the columns are different, and also the buttons, action buttons at the bottom are the same. So when we were redesigning the application, because the original one was written in Java and with Vaadin for front end, we were thinking about doing some system with multiple modules and also cloud-based modules. So each application should have their own container, and there will be one special central part which will orchestrate the things and allow it to be connected. So there is one basic application, Commons Nuxt project, that holds the definitions of the components, and it uses slots, so we can be flexible in the target application and do it how we need and have those fields that we need for each agenda across the system. And then our modules could extend from it very easily. We were able to maintain some level of consistency, because the application before, it was in theory working the same. There should be some common part and then the extending part, but as the time flows and the developers are bringing in their own inventions, so the modules started diverge quite a lot. This was some way how to prevent this from happening and insist that changes in the components will be always done in the central part and not in the extending part. And one more interesting thing, but not too many times to elaborate on it further, that because it was in containers and we want to have as small bundle as possible, because we're experiencing like having up to 50 modules one day when the transition is completed. Then my colleague decided not to use Nuxt in the traditional way with npm runtime and with the server part and everything. But we decided to do static Nuxt build, so we just plain JavaScript that can be served, and only have a very small Go server that it handles the stuff inside the container, so the so the page is properly served and properly communicated to the central part. But so this is something what you can also do. You are not limited into JavaScript runtime all the time, but I won't talk about it more. I want to show different thing. This is what I want to talk about in this speech, and it is that you not only share those, not only inherit those things like components or util functions, but it can also work for npm dependencies. And npm dependencies can be tricky because there are often a lot of them, and ecosystem is evolving fast, so there are new versions, there are new vulnerabilities to care about. So the dependency management can be hard, and if you have more application like this, can get out of hand quite quickly. So imagine you have 50 containers, and inside each container you have something like what is on the left side, those many dependencies used in the application. Or if you can do it like we are doing with extending from layers, the left part is defined in the central module. So this is the only place when we have to take care about new versions and everything. And for the target application, we only have one dependency in each. It is depending on our base layer module. And in configuration file, we say we are extending from the module name, and this syntax with this option install true, it has to be used in back in days when we are creating this. I'm not exactly sure. Maybe now it's not even possible. Or if you use pnpm, then it's definitely not possible, not required. Then you can just set this special option of pnpm, and it will work and bring the inheritance, bring the dependencies to the target project without having to explicitly define them and handle them there. So because this works, and I have chance to prove it inside the project I was talking about now, I could move on and have some other applications of this principle. The first project I want to show a bit is called Nuxt Spec. It's a testing suite for Nuxt. And the idea why I wanted to start something like this was that when you go to the docs of Nuxt and read about how to do testing, then you will find out that, yes, we are shipping some module for testing called Nuxt test utils, and it's great. But then you need to install your own test runner. Then you should install underlying test utils for Vue.js itself. You also need some library for emulating the DOM. And if you want to do some end-to-end testing, then it's a headless browser, and so on and so on. And so before you even start testing, you have five new dependencies at last. So I was like, okay, this is something I don't like. Why there isn't some unified way of doing this? And I perfectly understand that the Nuxt team doesn't want to do something like this, because the philosophy of Nuxt is to provide only the basics and let everyone decide what they want or don't want. And so me like bake in test and don't allow anything else would be strange. But still, I wanted I was like, but I think it's good setup. Let's do it like this, and let's provide some layer that will bring this to your projects if you want to do it. So here is a link to repository when I'm working on this project. It is just an early stage, but it is already working, and we should have some demo time of this now. So just let me switch. Show screen. Let me switch to VS Code. What do we have now here? It's just a quick scaffolded Nuxt application using npm create. Very basic with no real stuff. It's just depending on Nuxt, and this is always in dependency. This is always there. And if I would like to test this one and go with pnpm vtest, I cannot, because nothing like that is available yet. It is just the basic Nuxt application without anything else. So let's bring in what I prepared, the dependency on the module. Then we have to declare in Nuxt config that we want to extend from my library or the layer. And one special step required in npm and pnpm is to create npm rc file and say inside it that we want to have this shamefully hoist option true. This will do that the dependencies from the transitive ones that are declared not in our project but inside our dependencies will be bring in and installed. Without that, it won't be work with pnpm, and I haven't tested much with classic npm or with yarn on even bun, so I'm not sure what it will do, and this is one of the things I will have to work on later on. So okay, we have this prepared, so let's install it. Now I hope it will be quick.
It must be quick. PNPM is blazingly quick, yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know how yours, but my computer always slows down when sharing screen, so but this looks quite good. So now when I try Vtest again, then it still fails, but it's not because Vtest is not there, but because it hasn't found any test files. So let me create some. I will put them into test folder and just some basic Vtest test.ts file. And I don't want to be very creative, so I will just make some test of testing. I just expect one will be one, and the test pass because yes, one is equal to one. This looks like a not very useful test, but it can show that the Vtest is up there and running. So we have this. Okay, now we can go a bit more further because inside my test suite I'm bringing more things. So one more test, wannabe end-to-end test. And inside this one, I will let Vtest to run the application and check. Oh, this is not very convenient, I guess. And to check, visit the index of my application, and it will not look for test component. This will not work, but getting started because the basic application, yeah, maybe I will run it in a separate window. Just you see what the application really do. pnpm dev. Getting started is the text I want to find. Like that, I can get the HTML string of or the HTML response from fetch function from Nuxt test utils library, and then I can look for some string inside it. Here we can see what do we see when the application starts. This is some basic from the Nuxt team itself, and there is the text getting, so not getting, but get started. And let's go back to testing window, and what is happening now? Let me restart it. This, I don't really like the interactive mode of test. I prefer to go only one run and end. This is still failing for some reason. Yeah, this is not working. Why? Because I didn't I didn't save properly my files. So this so there's the proof that without this shamefully hoist option, it doesn't work properly. Sorry for that. Let me quickly reinstall it again. Or it won't be reinstalled. Oh my. Okay, I messed up. Great. But maybe it's working now. Yeah. Now no, still no. Still no. Where do I have Nuxt as lint? Use lint. So I was trying this yesterday and on Monday, and everything in the demo worked. But now there is some live coding curse, and I have error. I am not really sure what is it. What is coming from? Maybe I need
pure demo effect.
maybe I need to delete node modules and try again, but I'm not sure if it works fast enough. So let's try once again. Sorry. npm install. No, Nuxt as ESLint, but I don't think I'm using it anywhere in this file. So this didn't end very well. But yeah, I hope I will make it better soon. So this was one example of why it's not working. What can be done with layers. And second, even more advanced idea was to make more than just a testing suite, but the template starter for new Nuxt projects, because I am having more and more Nuxt applications, and when I'm starting with them, I always deal with the same things, that I need something for database, for the UI, and so on. And setting it up was always a long journey. Again, from the Nuxt perspective, it is better to only have a very small base and provide modules for most of the functionality and let people to choose. But if you keep doing this, then it's getting harder and harder. So there are quite a lot starters for this, do my many people, but often they are optionated. The author says this is the way how to do it, and let's do it like this. I was also thinking about something like this at first, but then I say, okay, but what if I give people more choice, because it should be done. Like if you need a database, you may be like Supabase service, or you might like Neon Postgres database more. This is my case. I like Neon, it's better service for me. Or maybe you want to have Tailwind for your styling, but maybe you also don't want to have it. There are maybe some other things, and so on and so on. So I wanted to create something that allows or it offers some functionality out of the box, but you can opt out from them if you don't find them that important and that good as I do. And then there are integrations that can be opt-in if you want to have them. And the configuration of this is handled through environment variables. So let's go back to demo part, and hopefully this will work better. I will open the second project, open folder, Ignis up. So once again, this is only the scaffolded Nuxt application with no further things yet. Now the opening takes some time, and I don't know why. It doesn't like me.
It still try to install this ESLint, I suppose. I'm joking.
Yeah, one thing that is that I'm corporate person, so I'm working on Windows most of the time, and because on my work laptop working with JavaScript was quite slow, I found a way how to avoid it and to shield my JavaScript development into WSL inside the Windows machine. So maybe this is what is taking long. So my Nuxt Ignis application, first, what it can do, it can replace those dependencies because they are baked in mine, and like that it should work as well, or it is working in normal projects. So let's see if it works. It will be working today. So now I need again this npm rc file, and I don't have to. Why is this still here? Exit. I must not forget to save it. I must extend my Nuxt configuration. And one more special adjustment here, because Nuxt Ignis provides some default app.vue, but because of how layers work, it will be overwritten by this, and I don't want to be overwritten for the sakes of the demo. I will delete this scaffolded app.vue. So those are the adjustments needs to be done. And now hopefully, no, I made mistake, syntax error somewhere. Yes, forgotten. No, this won't work yet.
I suppose this is also a good example that Nuxt can extend the configs also from external packages.
Yep.
Right, because you're installing your Nuxt Ignis and extending it like in a basic mode of Nuxt.
Yeah. This is the layer thing, because I say extend from here, and so it will look inside this module once it's installed, and it will find here that there is also this Nuxt config ts from this module, and so it will bring it in, and it will apply this defu merge on it, and so I can do practically whatever I want here, and it will overwrite what I have inside the default one. Or I can just extend it like this, and I shouldn't care about anything, and it should just work. So one thing you see here, and this is a potential problem of my approach, I will discuss it in the end, that there are quite a lot of packages already bringing in already, because I believe and hope that everything gets tree shaken on the build time, what is not used, but of course for the development, once it's baked in inside this application, it needs to be installed. So you can see that there are really a lot of npm packages coming in when you install this. So for the first time, it takes quite some time. Now it already starting. Hopefully, yeah. Now we can use pnpdef and see what will go on. And it is really significantly slower than when I run it without sharing screen. So hopefully we will get somewhere, because I'm running out of my time slowly. So first thing, you could see that it prints out some information about how the current application is configured. So there is some basic application title. You can override this if you want. There are some modules that are automatically brought in, those that I found really useful and that they should be here unless you explicitly want to have them out. Okay, so it's scaffolding and it should be ready now, hopefully. Oh, it's still thinking. It's always letting me down when I should present it. But yeah, now it start. Something has started already. So if you don't do anything else, you see this landing page. You can check what is inside, what features are turned on, and what could have been turned on but they are disabled in the current setup. And you can also display the actual Nuxt config ts file. So this is how the real application is built. So okay, we would have something, but yes, this is not really useful right now. So let's make some change. So let's bring in the app view file. Do not rely on the what is bring in, but let's make our own again. So let's put in something, and I think I need to restart the application to make sure everything still works, because it sometimes confused with it. Hopefully it will be a bit faster now. It's not ready yet. Should be ready now. And we should see something. Okay, so here we go with custom content. It override the default page. And I also wanted to show it like that because one of the features that I am providing is to have some default CSS file, default styling. So maybe you will like it like this. It follows some recommendations like that the text shouldn't be too much white for comfortable reading and stuff like that. But maybe you also don't like it like this and you would like something different. So let's show how to disable this default feature. Also, second thing to deal with is that unlike before, when we have this built-in app.view from my module that has the next page somewhere. We are only using single page application without next page now, and so it produces warning that the setting for pages of Nuxt is ready. So there is some router and stuff like this, but you are not actually using it, so you should set this configuration. And you can set this configuration either in here in the Nuxt config.ts, but let's show the way of working with Nuxt Ignis through .env file. Because like this, we can provide some settings for it. So first, let's disable those pages. And let's disable the core CSS that is coming through by default. And if I start it now, we should see something else. Yeah, but it's really takes some. So the styling from Ignis is gone, and this is the very basic styling of the browser itself. And we can start working on it more. So in my demo, I'll have also the example how to bring in this tailwind stuff, but because it's taking some time to start, let's skip it for now and go back to the presentation with very few more remarks about this. Why this works like it is working. The application is always built based on what is in Nuxt config.ts, and this file must be static once the application is built and cannot be changed afterwards. So you cannot have dynamic behavior, or at least not like this when the application is ready. But before it is built, you can play with this Nuxt config.ts file quite a lot, and you can do stuff with that, and it can read environment variables with the process.env. So this is what I'm doing mostly, and I'm doing inside this file. Yeah. So based on what I'm getting inside environment variables, I can either add modules to be included into the build, or if there is explicitly said no, don't use this module, it won't be added. And on the other hand, those are the those are the optional things I can check. Yeah, so do we want to bring Nuxt UI, for example? So then yes, add module for that, and it will be added, and maybe another configuration will be passed in, and like that. So this is how it works. And to demonstrate that it's not just some demo thing, but I'm already using it for many of my websites. So here is a website, my personal one, which uses Nuxt UI for styling, and it is really a Nuxt Ignis application. It has this special system page, and you can see what is turned on this side. It looks different than the default one because it has styling through the Tailwind. The default works without external libraries. It has some styling of its own, but it's not looking that good like it should look. So maybe apart from the Nuxt UI, There is also more things to be run on. There is a form done with a Vue form, and you can choose from Vue form or form kit, what you prefer to use, and it is connected to a database. And I am connected to Neon database, and the second option is Supabase. And maybe in the future there will be more modules connecting to more version of databases, whatever people should use, should like. So this is how it can work. There are more pages, but I won't be showing all of them now. I'm already long enough. Considerations about this approach. It is experimental. I am still trying to elaborate how to do it really good. And maybe if it's really good thing to work like that, or if I should go back and manage dependencies in each project separately. But if you have more of them, then it becomes tedious quickly, like doing the same thing again and again and again when new versions of packages are coming out. It's really not nice. I am worried about the bundle sizes. I am not 100% sure that it will work as I think it will, that it will really tree shake everything which is not used, and the final build will be reasonable big. I will have to test it and maybe change it a bit to be able to make this. And the problem I have now is that I'm the only user I am aware of. So I'm doing like I am using the applications, and maybe this is leading into not so great output because someone would like to do something a bit different, and maybe my approach won't allow this. So for me, it will be very nice if someone will check this out and give me any feedback. What do you think about this? Have you tried it? And yeah, that's pretty much what I wanted to say. Thank you for attention. And if there are questions, I will like to hear them. And if I don't know the answer, I will pretend I lost the connection.
Thank you, Alois. That was nice. I have one question about the name. Why do you choose this name? Why Ignis?
Yeah, I was trying to find something that is, nice sounding, and also it has some hidden meaning. And Ignis is like from to ignite. It's a Greek word, if I'm not mistaken. It means to light the things up. And so this is how I mean it should work, that you light your next project by not having to focus on putting everything together. You just pick what you want through the environment variables and start developing, not worrying about that too much. So this why it's Ignis. Also this logo with the flame should say it. So that's the meaning behind it.
Okay. I like Nuxt. I have a lot of experience with Nuxt as well. And I like your initiative and definitely will check it out after the meetup. So thanks again for the presentation.
Thank you for this opportunity.
Yeah, and I think we can move on to our last speaker, which is me. And I see that we have not a lot of time, but I will try to briefly take you to the topic I brought today. So I'm Pavel, as I said. I'm a front-end developer at Epicmax. I like to experiment. I like to use new stuff. And also, I'm creating a lot of pet projects for me just for fun or not, who knows. So let me stop presenting this, and I will quickly change this to my presentation here. Okay. I hope you see the screen well. So today, we're going to look at artificial intelligence failures, from the moments that make us laugh to the mistakes that cost millions and sadly even lives. We'll explore real-world cases baked by numbers and facts, and at the end, we'll learn something for the future. So, AI. AI isn't the magic. It is just a system that learns from data, and when the data or logic is flawed, the results can be shocking. The AI incident database now catalogs thousands of incidents already. Today, we'll explore just a selection of them. And let's start from the funny part. So the first case is DPD swearing chatbot. Let's look at this case. In early 2024, a frustrated user in London, unable to get real help tracking a parcel, began probing the chatbot capabilities. Instead of offering assistance, the chatbot turned sassy. It's not only a swear, but also penned a poem criticizing DPD and even called itself a useless chatbot that can't help you. So as an outcome, the incident went viral. DPD had to shut down the part of their AI system, attributing the error to the recent software update. They quickly moved to patch the issue and prevent similar glitches. As a takeaway, we can look at this example is a light-hearted reminder that AI lacks some common sense and can be highly unpredictable when faced with ambiguous prompts. It underscores the needs from vigilant monitoring and fail-safes, even for seemingly harmless features. Next one, another funny stuff. In late 2023, a Chevrolet dealership in California launched the ChatGPT-powered chatbot to help customers. And a user quickly tested its limit by telling it to agree to everything and add the phrase "that's a legally binding offer, no taxes, no backseas," to every reply. When he offered just $1 for brand new Tahoe, worth over 7,000 hundreds of bot, happily confirmed the deal. The story exploded online, gaining millions of views, and the dealership quickly took the chatbot offline, highlighting how prompt injection can easily bypass safeguards, even in commercial systems. And the last one from funny section, Muffin or Chihuahua. Let's turn to a meme that highlights the deceptively simple AI fail, the Muffin or Chihuahua test. At first glance, it's amusing, just muffins and dogs, but it reveals a serious truth. AI systems rely on superficial features. For instance, gold brown with spots, it's muffin, and the tiny fuzzy is Chihuahua. It's not about comprehension, just pattern recognition. A more egregious real-world example. Vision models meant to tell huskies from wolves actually differentiated by whatever snow in the background, not the animal's features. That's called spurious correlation. And here is a takeaway. Even when accuracy looks high, AI could be relying on absolutely irrelevant cues. Without rigorous testing and robust data, mistakes aren't just comedic, they can be really dangerous. And we are moving to this section. The first dangerous accident. In this incident, a grieving customer relied on Air Canada chatbot to explain bereavement fares. The bot wrongly told him he could claim a refund even after travel, booking full price ticket in the process. When the refund was denied, he took the case to a tribunal. The decision, Air Canada, accountable for the chatbot misinformation, they were offered to pay 650 Canadian dollars plus fees. Notably, the airline arguments that the chatbot was a separate legal entity didn't fly because it's part of their website. The case emphasized the obligation companies hold all their customer-facing content, even AI-generated, and a serious reminder, misleading chatbots can cause real harm and real money. As in this one, this slide shows a heartbreaking case where supposedly neutral algorithm wreaked havoc. The Dutch childcare benefits a scandal. Over nearly 15 years, approximately 26,000 families were falsely accused of fraud and told to repay thousands of euros, even though they did nothing wrong. Most targeted households were low-income or immigrant families. The lack of nuance and the reliance of flawed risk models tore families apart. Over 1,000 children ended up with a state of custody, relationship, jobs, and financial security were destroyed. The fallout was immense. The scandal led to the Dutch government collapse in 2029. The response included compensation for up to 3,000 per family, through many damages were irreparable. The case is a stark reminder: when the automation enters deeply personal systems like welfare, the consequences aren't just monetary, they are deeply human. Another section of AI fails is the financial section. For example, this Zillow embarked the ambitious iBuying strategy in 2080 using their Zistmate AI to bid on and flip homes automatically. But when the 2029 housing market cooled, Zillow found itself paying too much for properties it could resell at a profit. The result, a whopping more than 421 million loss in Q3 and 25% headcount cut, and the abrupt shutdown of Zillow offers. This teaches a vital lessons. AI models, however advanced, struggle in unstable real-world conditions, especially when their environment shifts faster than the algorithm can adapt. Sorry, another one. Everybody knows McDonald's, right? So McDonald's tested voice-controlled AI at drive-thrus starting in 2021, but errors piled up. One customer got bacon on their ice cream, another had 9 sweet teas added, and the third faced a massive McNuggets charge of around $222. These mistakes rapidly went viral on TikTok. By the mid of 2024, McDonald's ended the IBM pilot at over 100 sites, through they expressed intent to refine their approach and continue exploring AI capabilities with other partners. The key takeaway here is the customer-facing roles. AI must be backended by context-aware safeguards. Orders a bizarre of like 260 nuggets shouldn't be treated as valid. And yeah, we also have some really bad things, like a truly tragic cases there. This is one of the best examples of them. This tragic incident took place in Tempe, Arizona in March 2018. Elaine Heisberg was fatally struck by an autonomous Uber car while pushing the bicycle across the street. The system had actually detected her 6 seconds before the crash, but crucially, its emergency braking feature was turned off while in autonomous mode. Uber relied on a safety driver to intervene, but the system wasn't designed to prompt them. Afterwards, the NTCB heavily criticized Uber's safety approach, including understaffed monitoring, rapid software iteration, and lack of redundancy. The human operator in the vehicle later pleaded guilty to endangerment, receiving probation. Takeaway: this was not just technological failure. It was a breakdown in safety system and human oversight with the fatal consequences. And the last one for today, because I don't want you to get upset after all of these facts. So during the pandemic, AI systems also were swiftly deployed to automate these COVID-19 diagnoses from scans. Some posted impressive metrics like 90% sensitivity and 93% specificity. But a deeper look revealed many models didn't learn what COVID-19 looks like. Instead, they used the shortcut cues, like whether a scan had a hospital logos or patient positioning, to make their predictions. A comprehensive review confirmed that no one of these models were ready for clinical use. Flawed methods and biased data made them unreliable. Worse still, when doctors used these AI systems, their diagnosis accuracy dropped from 73% to just 61.7%. In high-stakes settings like healthcare, AI systems haven't been rigorously validated and can be easily do more harm than good. So, we learned something there. Across every case, funny, costly, or deadly, one thing is clear: AI is not set and forget. Human oversight remains the single most important safeguard. High-quality representative data is critical. Complex algorithms won't save bad inputs. They just make wrong predictions faster. Guardrails, scenario testing, and stress testing in real-world conditions are must. Many failures we saw today happened because AI performed well in the lab, but they broke down in the field. BSD is especially dangerous. From welfare fraud algorithms to medical diagnostics, AI can magnify societal inequalities if we don't check for fairness. And then finally, transparency builds trust. Companies that admit limitations and explain how their AI works are far better equipped to avoid PR disaster and maintain public confidence. And that's what I have for you guys for today. I know we already using AI a lot in programming, but we still don't need to forget to write code by ourselves. So thanks a lot for listening. That was my topic for you for today. And I think we can end up with this. I remind you again that this video was recorded, this meetup was recorded, and we'll post the meeting in our YouTube channel. Anastasia, can you please drop the link to this YouTube channel here in the chat? Also, if you want to be a speaker on our next meetup number 13, please attend and fill some small Google form and apply to our meetups next time. So at this point, I think we can wrap up. Thanks again for our speakers today, for Alexander, to Alois. I hope you liked this meetup, and see you guys on the next one next month. Bye-bye.